Published 1408 Est, the 12th of November 2017. Updated 1555 Est, the 13th of November 2017. At least 400 people have been killed and more than 6,000 are injured after a 7.3 magnitude earthquake hit the Iraqi-Iran border. The quake hit 19 miles southwest of Halabja in Iraqi Kurdistan at around 9:20 p.m. on Sunday, when many people would have been at home. More than 100 aftershocks followed. Iran gave a provisional toll of more than 400 dead, with 6 further deaths reported on the Iraq side of the border. Tremors were felt as far west as the Mediterranean coast. The earthquake hit several western provinces of Iran, but the hardest hit province was Kermanshah, which has announced 3 days of mourning. More than 236 of the victims were in Sarpol-Zahab County in Kermanshah province, 10 miles from the Iraq border. Footage and images from the region show people fleeing their homes into the night and others grieving the deaths of their loved ones. Residents as far away as Baghdad, 200 miles from the epicenter, said the quake was so powerful, buildings were dancing in the air. Scroll down for video. Devastation. A car lies crushed by debris from the 7.3 magnitude earthquake in the city of Sarpol-Zahab in western Iran. Grieving locals stand by the bodies of earthquake victims in Sarpol-Zahab County in Kermanshah, Iran. Rescuers have been working around the clock in a bid to find survivors in Sarpol-Zahab in Iran's western province of Kermanshah. Iranians are pictured mourning over the body of an earthquake victim in the city of Sarpol-Zahab in Iran's western province of Kermanshah. Rescue workers search for survivors amid the rubble following a 7.3 magnitude earthquake in Sarpol-Zahab in Iran's western province of Kermanshah. A powerful earthquake has struck along the Iran-Iraq border. This was the scene in Sulaymaniyah, Iraq. An earthquake with a magnitude of 7.3 struck Iraq on Sunday, rocking Baghdad more than 200 miles away. The epicenter was 64 miles southeast of the city of Sulaymaniyah near the Iranian border. An Iranian victim of the earthquake receives medical at a temporary hospital in the city of Palezahab in Kermanshah province. A powerful 7.2 magnitude earthquake that struck Iran's Kermanshah province bordering Iraq has killed over 440 inhabitants and left at least another 3,950 injured. Mojtaba Nikardar, the deputy governor of Kermanshah, said authorities there were in the process of setting up 3 emergency relief camps. Iran's emergency services chief Pir Hossein Kulivant said it was difficult to send rescue teams to the villages because the roads have been cut off. There have been landslides. The official IRNA news agency said 30 Red Cross teams had been sent to the quake zone, parts of which had experienced power cuts. In Iraq, officials said the quake had killed 6 people in the northern province of Sulaymaniyah and injured around 150. Footage posted on Twitter showed panicked people fleeing a building in Sulaymaniyah as windows shattered at the moment the quake struck, while images from the nearby town of Darbandakan showed major walls and concrete structures had collapsed. Residents ran out onto the streets and some damage to property was reported, an AFP reporter there said. 4 people were killed by the earthquake in Darbandakan. The town's mayor Nasamullah Hassan told AFP, a child and an elderly person were killed in Kalar, according to the director of the hospital in the town about 40 miles south of Darbandakan, and 105 people injured. An Iranian child victim of the earthquake receives medical at a temporary hospital in the city of Palezahab in Kermanshah province. A woman reacts next to a dead body following an earthquake. In Sarpol-Zahab County in Kermanshah, Iran, on November 13, members of the Turkish Red Crescent searched a collapsed building in the Darbandahan district of Sulaymaniyah. Iraq walls collapsed and residents were trapped in damaged buildings after the quake struck the Iran-Iraq border. This was the scene in Kermanshah, Iran. Emergency hospitals and medical centers overflowed with patients as casualties were brought in for treatment in Sarpol-Zahab County in Kermanshah, Iran. A woman breaks down in tears next to the body of an earthquake victim in Sarpol-Zahab County in Kermanshah, Iran. An elderly Iraqi man uses a torch to search through the wreckage of a building in Darbandahan district of Sulaymaniyah. Buildings in Sarpol-Zahab in western Iran were left in ruins and cars were crushed by rubble when the 7.3 magnitude quake struck last night. The quake, which struck at a relatively shallow depth of 25 kilometers, was felt for about 20 seconds in Baghdad, and for longer in other provinces of Iraq, AFP journalist said. On the Iranian side of the border, the tremor shook several cities in the west of the country including Tabriz. It was also felt in southeastern Turkey, from Malatya to Van, an AFP correspondent said. In the town of Diyarbakir, residents were reported to have fled their homes. The quake struck along a 1,500 kilometers fault line between the Arabian and Eurasian tectonic plates, a belt ending through western Iran and into northeastern Iraq. The area sees frequent seismic activity. Homes were completely destroyed in Sarpol Zahab County in Kermanshah, Iran after the 7.3 magnitude quake was followed by 100 aftershocks. Images and footage from Kermanshah, Iran, shows residents fleeing from their homes in the wake of the devastating earthquake response. Rescuers have started the grim task of searching for survivors trapped under rubble in the city of Sarpol Zahab in western Iran. The Derbendahan district of Sulaymaniyah in Iraq was among the worst hit areas, with pictures showing entire buildings reduced to rubble. Aftermath. Iraqi men survey the ruins of a house in the Derbendahan district of Sulaymaniyah, Iraq, following last night's earthquake in 1990. A 7.4 magnitude quake near the Caspian Sea in northern Iran killed 40,000 people and left 300,000 more injured and 500,000 homeless. Within seconds, the quake reduced dozens of towns and nearly 2,000 villages to rubble. 13 years later, a catastrophic quake struck the ancient southeast Iranian city of Bam, famed for its mud brick buildings, killing at least 31,000 people and flattening swaths of the city. Since then, Iran has experienced at least two major quake disasters, one in 2005 that killed more than 600 and another in 2012 that left some 300 dead. More recently, a 5.7 magnitude earthquake near Iran's border with Turkmenistan in May killed 2 people, injured hundreds and caused widespread damage. On the Iraqi side last night, it was reported that the most extensive damage was in the town of Darbandakan, 47 miles east of the city of Sulaymaniyah in the semi-autonomous Kurdistan region. Survivors warmed themselves in front of destroyed buildings in western Iran. The quake hit 19 miles southwest of Halabja in Iraqi Kurdistan at around 9:20 p.m. on Sunday, when many people would have been at home. Residents are pictured hunting for survivors in Sulaymaniyah in Iraq. An Audi is pictured buried under a pile of rubble in the earthquake. The quake laid waste to buildings in the Derbendahan district of Sulaymaniyah, northern Iraq. Rescuers worked through the night to find survivors. 3 men are pictured inspecting the damage in the Kurdistan region last night after a building collapsed. The earthquake destroyed buildings in Kurdish areas and was felt as far away as Baghdad, more than 200 miles away. More than 30 people were injured in the town, according to Kurdish Health Minister Rakat Hama Rashid. The situation there is very critical, Rashid said. The district's main hospital was severely damaged and had no power, Rashid said, so the injured were being taken to Sulaymaniyah for treatment. There was extensive structural damage to buildings and homes. In Halabja, local officials said a 12-year-old boy died from an electric shock when an electric cable fell during the earthquake. Many residents in the Iraqi capital, Baghdad, rushed out of houses and tall buildings in panic. I was sitting with my kids having dinner and suddenly the building was just dancing in the air, said Mahida Amir, who ran out of her building in the capital's Salahiyah district with her 3 children. A building can be seen left destroyed by the 7.3 magnitude earthquake, which left many people lying injured in the street. A car is buried under a pile of bricks in the massive earthquake that shook Iran, and Iraqi thought at first that it was a huge bomb. But then I heard everyone around me screaming earthquake. There were similar scenes in Erbil, the capital of the Kurdistan region, and across other cities in northern Iraq, close to the quake's epicenter. Iraq's meteorology center advised people to stay away from buildings and not to use elevators, in case of aftershocks. Residents of Turkey's southeastern city of Diyarbakir also reported feeling a strong tremor, but there were no immediate reports of damage or casualties in the city. Turkish Red Crescent chairman Kerem Kinik told broadcaster NTV that Red Crescent teams in Erbil were preparing to go to the site of the earthquake, and that Turkey's National Disaster Management Agency, AFAD, and National Medical Rescue Teams UMKE were also preparing to head into Iraq. AFAD's chairman said the organization was waiting for a reply to its offer for help. In a tweet, Kinik said the Turkish Red Crescent was gathering 3,000 tents and heaters, 10,000 beds and blankets and moving them towards the Iraqi border. We are coordinating with Iranian and Iraqi Red Crescent groups. We are also getting prepared to make deliveries from our northern Iraq Erbil depot, he said. Israeli media said the quake was felt in many parts of Israel too. The windows to this supermarket were left completely shattered by the 7.3 magnitude earthquake that struck last night. The destruction left behind by the earthquake is seen here as shards of glass litter the streets. There were at least 100 aftershocks. Officials say this was the scene as people sat in a cafe just moments before the earthquake hit in Kurdistan. Terrified diners in this cafe ditched their tables and sprinted out of the building, hurtling chairs and sofas to get safety as the earthquake struck. The quake was even felt in the Iranian capital Tehran, with some villages hit by power cuts, Iranian state TV reported. The quake was felt in several Iranian provinces bordering Iraq. 8 villages were damaged. Electricity has been cut in some villages and rescue teams have been dispatched to those areas, TV reported. In the province of Sulaimania, located in Iraq's Kurdistan region, residents ran out onto the streets at the time of the quake and some minor property damage was recorded, a reporter said. In Iran, ISNA said the earthquake was felt in several cities in the west of the country including Tabriz. The quake took place along a 1,500 kilometers fault line between the Arabia and Eurasia tectonic plates, a belt ending through western Iran and into northeastern Iraq, the U.S. Geological Survey said. A 5.7 magnitude earthquake near Iran's border with Turkmenistan in May killed 2 people, injured hundreds and caused widespread damage, state media reported. The last major earthquake to strike Iran was a 2003 tremor in Bam, in the southeastern province of Kerman, which killed at least 31,000 people and flattened the city. Meanwhile in Japan, a 6.2 magnitude earthquake struck last night.